Hi, I'm Shannon Gavin Johnson, the director of Legacy Museum on Main, and this is a brief moment in LaGrange's history. Few events have had a greater impact on our community than the coming of the railroad. For much of our history, transportation was limited to water and a few small paths. Stagecoaches made travel difficult and could not carry many goods over long distances. So in the 1830s, when Georgia businessmen saw how easily cotton was being transported in other states by rail, new companies began to be chartered to lay down the tracks. Not long after LaGrange was established, the Atlanta and LaGrange Railroad was chartered in 1847. It was completed in 1854 with rails that began 6 miles southwest of Atlanta in East Point and traveled the 80 miles into LaGrange. It was later extended to the Alabama line to meet the Montgomery and West Point Railroad, and it was renamed the Atlanta and West Point Railroad, or the A&WP, in 1857. At that time, private companies owned the rails, so the tracks that ran into West Point from Atlanta were a different gauge than the tracks that ran between West Point and Montgomery. It wasn't until after the Civil War, when it was necessary to repair and rebuild tracks, that Georgia's rails were standardized to a single size. In the 1860s, local textile mills were running through the cotton supply, resulting in a thriving economy. Fresh-picked cotton was brought by wagon into the nearest depot town, where the bales were purchased and shipped to textile mills, often by train. Once the mills created textile goods from the cotton, trains distributed the goods throughout the country and to the coast for exporting overseas. As most everything did, travel by rail struggled during the Great Depression, but World War II saw a resurgence of railroad prosperity, and innovations continued to change railroad function. Diesel replaced steam locomotives by 1954, and dining and sleeping cars were popular for a while before train travel declined in the 1960s. Business dropped even more when the United States Post Office discontinued its mail contracts with the railroad. Today, of course, it isn't cotton but cars being transported by railroads out of LaGrange, and with an eye on environmentally friendly transportation, who knows what the future holds for railroads to and from LaGrange. To learn more about trains in LaGrange, come visit Legacy Museum on Main. This has been a brief moment in LaGrange's history.